Hi, everyone. Based out of Sydney. So for those on the line, this is interesting in that you can only see me, but there is a room full of nearly about 30 or 50 people. So they should be well represented. So everyone give the video a round of applause so they can hear you. I think what's really cool is, as I mentioned, this is the first time ever that we're actually doing a 3-city community event. We've never even done this in the States. So as you can tell by my accent, I'm unfortunately not Australian. I'm trying to work on that as we speak. But I've been part of the Marketing Cloud community for the last 7 years, part of Salesforce. I came through the Exact Target acquisition. And actually, prior to joining Marketing Cloud, I was a customer myself. So I used the platform to execute a lot of our email campaigns with different partnerships around the globe. And so now I'm really living my dream job here with you guys in Australia, sharing the power and value of really what the Marketing Cloud has to offer. So that's me in a nutshell. I'll then go ahead and pass it on to Evelyn. Are you on the line?
I am. Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Beauty. All right. My name's Evelyn Cass, if we need to be formal, which we don't. Everyone in the industry calls me Ev. But no, like Tina, I was Exact Target. Prior to Exact Target, I was a little company called Campaign Master that Lee Hawksley, if you're familiar with him, he used to own that business. So I too come from a very heavy email marketing background, and now look after all the banking customers, so financial services. Really fun. So at the moment, I'm the strategic or financial services enterprise solution engineer here based in Melbourne, as well as Lockie, who's in the crowd with us today. And over to Vladimir.
Hello, guys. Thanks very much for inviting me. I've been with Exact Target similar to Tina, come through the acquisition into Salesforce. I've been less than Tina. I've got only 5 years of experience with Marketing Cloud. I didn't know some bits, and I currently work with partner development team. My role is really work with consultants to try and help them to kind of understand the platform and figure out their way through implementing our solutions. So I cover APAC region, and some of you may or may not have sort of seen me or interacted with me over the period of time.
Thanks for that. So my name is Elliot. I don't work for Salesforce. I'm a Marketing Cloud independent architect and consultant. I've been working with Marketing Cloud for many years now. Written books on Marketing Cloud, including, this is time for my shameless plug, my latest book, The AmpScript Guide, that you can go to ampscript.guide and get your copy. It's a comprehensive 514-page reference manual for AmpScript. What else about me? Very active in the user community, and I'm also a Salesforce MVP. In fact, just a very few, I think 3 Salesforce Marketing Cloud MVPs worldwide. So it's a kind of privilege to get that recognition, and it's good to be here tonight. Thanks.
Anyone in Brisbane we need to introduce? No? Right. So with that, we're going to go ahead and kick off. And first, we just want to say thank you to each and every one of you across all these different cities. It's so great to see such a phenomenal turnout. Hopefully one day we can bring all of these 3 cities together. I think that would be really cool. Elliot and Matt, goal for the next meetup. But we're really looking forward to sharing with you all the takeaways and things from Dreamforce that everyone should look forward to and be really excited for. So as you may have seen, we highlight a lot of our trailblazers and advocates. And as Elliot mentioned, he's one of the 3 MVPs around the world that really touch on the knowledge and level of expertise on our platform. And the beauty of really what bring all of our technology to life is you guys in this room. It's those that are part of the community. It's our trailblazers who really own the technology and make it their own and really drive success across their organizations. So trailblazers is really what infuses the power of our technology. So as we think about Dreamforce, and we'll go into more of the technical nuances that were the key takeaways from the event, I think something that was really compelling about this particular Dreamforce was the infusion of our culture day in and day out. Mark Benioff, something that I admire so much about him is he's not just about the innovation, he's also about the people. And our organization has been built around these 4 pillars, which touch on trust, customer success, innovation, and equality. And the reason that we bring up this slide is that time and time again, when we speak with customers, they are inspired by how important this is to us as an organization. And I think globally, when we think about scaling businesses across the world, core values like these really help us continue that growth. A key theme at Dreamforce also was being connected. So we are in the 4th industrial revolution, and really what that means is our expectations are really heightened more than ever before. So what does that mean when we think about evolving how we market to our customers, our prospects, and really think about growing and expanding our businesses? And if we go to the next slide, we talk about the platform really being this customer success platform. We launched a variety of different solutions at Dreamforce, and we talked about chatbots. What you see is Einstein, MuleSoft, Customer 360. So really at the heart of everything that we do, it's this truly connected customer experience. For those that may have been around for quite some time, you've seen an evolution of our architecture over the years, but this is really where everything comes to life. It's centered around our customers. And what's really compelling about this slide is we didn't name it cloud. For those that are familiar with our products and solutions, we typically put cloud after everything: Marketing Cloud, Sales Cloud, Service Cloud. But for this year, we really wanted to focus the success around the customer. And so when we think about success, it's all intertwined with the capabilities of Customer 360, but also thinking about how are we collaborating with internal teams, external prospects, customers. How are we thinking about growing our sales, service, and marketing departments, and really just tying this full circle of different solutions that we have at our disposal. And Salesforce is one of those platforms that allow organizations to do that at scale. So one of the key highlights and announcements is Salesforce Customer 360. How many people across the different cities have heard of Customer 360? Okay, cool. A handful of people, maybe some people in Melbourne. I see you guys raising your hands. So this is a new solution that will be available next year, but it's something that will really tie and unify the customer experience. We all have all of these different technologies that may provide a function and solution for one component of the customer experience. With the Salesforce Customer 360, we're actually unifying and connecting all these different points, and it truly gives that 360 view of our customers. And so what's really great is they're in the process right now of building that product, and it will be something that you will see actually at next Dreamforce. But it was a key highlight to some of the demos and the main keynote that Mark talked about. Another key announcement was talking about MuleSoft. So this, to many people, they may have heard of Integration Cloud or integration, but our MuleSoft acquisition was really key to actually building a stepping stone into creating the Salesforce Customer 360. Because when you think about true customer success, while we ultimately want it to be in one repository, one platform, or one CRM, that's not necessarily the case, but that's okay. So how can we build the gap to really unlock data that has rich information for our customers? And so this is where MuleSoft will come into play, where we'll be able to connect all these different systems across customer information, devices, et cetera, and really unlock all that information about our customers. Another key feature that was announced at Dreamforce as well is Einstein Voice. So imagine, like many of us who probably talk to our phones today, or Alexa, or our Google Home, now we can actually talk to our CRM. So what's really cool and also sort of scary is essentially the power of Einstein and bots will do the work for us, which I think is a beautiful thing. And if you haven't watched the video or the demo, I definitely recommend that you do, because me describing the slide does not do it justice. But imagine just being able to speak to your device. It pulls up a dashboard of your top prospects or leads or customers. This is the direction in which our technology is developing. It's really transforming and making our day-to-day lives more efficient through the power of Einstein and bots. And Elliot or Matt, you guys want to talk specifically about the Marketing Cloud highlights?
At risk of sounding like Elliot or Matt, it's Ev, and I might cover that piece, team.
Fantastic, Ev, take it away.
Thank you. So, hand up, who went to Dreamforce? Oh, sick, we've got quite a few people. Sydney, Brizzy, you guys too? How did you go? I'm assuming there's about a third of the people in the room who might have gone. So, I've worked in the industry for Salesforce for years and years and years, and it was actually my first Dreamforce. Back in the day, we used to have connections. If any of you are familiar with the exact target world, yeah, we all went to connections. This Dreamforce was intense. It was like next level phenomenal. It was about 180,000 people. I grew up in a farm, and I was very claustrophobic. Now, the cool stuff that we did see relevant to Marketing Cloud was we all know many of these products here. So Journey Builder, that's our main staple product, right? We're all familiar with that, I would assume. But how many of you understand what Interaction Studio is? Hands up. Yeah, it's very, very new in market. So we did it in our last demo group or dev group. We covered this one in some detail. But DMP again and Data Studio, this is a new piece that's hitting the market. Email and Mobile Studios, there's a couple of enhancements that are taking place there. Really cool stuff in particular, and you'll see this roll out in the release. But now, remember before when you were building journeys and you had to add the email and you have to make sure that the email's pre-built prior. Well, now with the new Journey Builder update and the release that's coming out, you'll be able to do all of that within the Journey Builder. So there's lots of cool efficiencies that are taking place in the product that you're going to see. Advertising Studio, again, not too many changes taking place there. Social Studio is still developing rapidly. I don't know if any of you are familiar with a fellow by the name of Lee Price here locally. He lives in Melbourne. Yeah, so Pricey is now actually one of our product leads. So he is managing the product for social, reporting into a man by the name of Tom Hasselman based in San Francisco. So this is really key for us because now we have even greater ties into the product as well. He's also taking a lot of knowledge from our Australian customers because he's touched nearly every big logo under the sun in Australia. So that's really critical for us. If you've worked with him before, make sure you keep in touch. Pardot, I won't touch on too much there. I certainly am not a Pardot expert. That's more Lockie's role in the room. But the really cool stuff is Google Analytics 360. Who's aware that we have a direct partnership with Google now? Brilliant. Oh, wow, that was a lot more than expected. And there should be one more, which is Datarama. What's on our next slide? It's a build. There we go. All right, so Datarama, guys, who knows about this? Okay, we need to do some serious press release on Datarama. This shit is cool, and I do swear I apologize. Now, Datarama, remember back in the day when campaign managers used to have to stitch together and trawl through CSV files of data to comprehend exactly how your email marketing activity and any sort of digital marketing activity was actually performing against revenue, was actually performing against, opportunities created, et cetera, leads created, attrition that was lost. Now you can do all of this BI reporting and overlay all of your marketing data in beautiful marketing-related dashboards. Like, this shit's really cool. So we're going to see a lot more development taking place here. If you're not connected with our Datarama team, Salesforce acquired Datarama recently. We've got Mick O'Brien, Anthony, and Dave, all based in Sydney at the moment. More than happy to tee you up with them. I'm already going out to market, and my customers are so excited to begin taking all of this analytics direct. rather than having to rely on a range of third parties and have multiple data silos and multiple reporting sheets all over the place. So with that, let's move ahead. Oh, Datorama, here, basically, this is what it does. If you haven't seen it before, these are the beautiful slides where essentially it's gorgeous graph, tabular formats. It's really easy to interpret and digest. You can collect and unify many, many data sources. You can visualize and generate AI, artificial intelligence-powered insights. So again, if you are using reports and dashboards in your CRM environment, you can now overlay that with marketing intelligence. But furthermore, you can use Einstein and next best recommendations and see all of this in reports that are actually easy to interpret so that you as a customer understand exactly what your marketing dollars and what your business operations and what your sales activities are doing for you, all in a single story or narrative. And with that, I think we'll move ahead. DMP multi-channel audiences. There was a lot of stuff happening in the multimedia, in the DMP space. See this graph here? Is anyone familiar with the DMP so far? Yeah, so you understand that you've got a range of segments, we manage cookies, and we tie, cross-channel device identity matching together. Now, one of the key components of our DMP is that our DMP learns. It has an artificial or Einstein engine behind the scenes, and so we also have this giant 13-month look back. What we can do here is now begin to target these audiences and tie them, associate them within our CRM environment as well. So that's really powerful when you begin to think about who is coming to my website, where is my traffic coming from, what types of data relationships can I generate between other parties. So if Evelyn is in the market looking for a house at the moment, she's on the domain website, I can actually have ANZ listening to that activity, and ANZ can begin to target me with mortgages and home loans whilst I'm on the domain website. That's just one example of setting up a data relationship. And all of this now, with the multi-channel audiences, can be managed by CRM. That's going to come out within our release as well. Have I missed anything, Vlad, on that one? No? Okay, let's go ahead. This was my favorite. Oh, my God. This is the best product ever. And I said it before, who knows about Interaction Studio? It's absolutely fantastic, this product. It's very high-end piece of kit, but very, very neat. So, guys, if any of you are unfamiliar, think about, at the moment, there's a lot of brands in market who are saying, how do I understand my anonymous to known customer behaviour? At what point in the customer life cycle does Evelyn drop out of the journey? And how do I associate how overall all of my digital channels and my offline channels, how do I understand which channel is performing best? Which channel is actually driving conversion? So here on the screen, see this little spider and you can see the blue lines. Each of these hubs represent a life cycle stage, and each of these channels down the side can either be online or offline. So I work for the bank. If I'm a banking customer, I might receive an ad to say, Ev, you've got your mortgage rates are going up, but FYI, we know that you're a family, so here's something to benefit your family, like you might want to buy your family health insurance through us as well. What can also happen, though, is I might have a question about that health insurance or that offer, and I might need to speak to someone. So I might talk to the chatbot online, that's another channel. I might go into a branch and speak to someone directly, that's another channel, but that's an offline channel. What's really, really cool with Interaction Studio is you can begin to link all these channels together. So you're actually understanding the exact customer experience that I'm having and every interaction that I've had with your brand, not just the one that marketing want to narrate to you with Journey Builder. Does that make sense, guys? Journey Builder was often known as the outbound publishing channel, but now with Interaction Studio, you can listen through the use of tracking ID and piece together my journey across online and offline channels. But not just that, you can do it on anonymous browser behavior and then link that anonymous browser behavior to my authenticated user profile once I've handed over something like a mobile number or an email address, etc. Furthermore, you can actually start to visualize and interpret which channels are performing the best. So if I've got any blockages in my journey, how do I remove that blockage or change the customer lifecycle stages to move them forward to conversions? Really cool stuff. If you want to see a demo, hit me up, contact me on LinkedIn, or email me at work. More than happy to set that up with you guys, especially partners. Please reach out and ask. Yeah. The Google 360. Buddy, I'm stealing the show. Do you want to jump off here and talk about this one? No, okay. At least you're honest. got a partnership with Google. We're very Marketing Cloud focused, obviously, but the Google partnership is Salesforce-wide, so it is on the sales and service environment as well as the Marketing Cloud environment. What that means is that now you can tailor your G Suite here. You can purchase through Salesforce. We actually are trialing at the moment in the American region, selling Google 360 directly to our customers as well. So you can purchase access to Google through Salesforce. But what's particularly cool is from a marketing perspective, who has to manage campaigns in the past for your clients? Yeah, who had to troll through, I know, tell me about it, who had to troll through and pull all the UTM parameters and attach them to every freaking lead? Yeah, I know. So now with the Google 360 and the Google Partnership Connector, you can just sync up your GA account automatically. So that's the Google 360 account, Google Analytics 360. Connect that directly to your Marketing Cloud instance. So it's just a managed package, authenticate the user, connect the stats, link the accounts through, and now all of those parameters can be appended to every single email campaign. But it's not just that. Also within Journey Builder, we now have Google Analytics, so Journey Analytics appended to your journey. So remember up the top in Journey Builder, you see your exit and entry criteria, and there's a little cog there. There's now a little chart that sits next to that, a little chart icon. You can click on that, and it'll actually give you a run-through of exactly how your campaign or your goals performances are happening on web, what your e-commerce data is doing, you've got that connected, and also what are your metrics. So where are the blockages on your web pages, on the journey itself, and you can start to overlay all of that web data, Google Analytics data, specific to your journey. That's really cool crap. Again, you don't have to troll through CSV files like we used to try and piece some stuff together. If you want to be super nerdy, imagine what you could do with appending that data inside Data Armor as well to understand at a business level what that's doing. So that is all I have to say about that one. And here we are in a nutshell. These are all the individual pieces. We'll share this at the end, but I essentially spoke about these just before. I'm just jumping ahead, basically. Next one. Oh, Rebel! Okay, this one's cool. Vlad actually helped me build this slide. This is not, Salesforce marketing, corporate comms approved. Sorry, Tina and everyone in the marketing team. But we wanted to just illustrate for you, what Rebel is, because I don't know if many people have heard of Rebel. Have you? Yeah, some, not really. They were a small, cool little startup, right? But people like Gary Vee, if you're familiar with him, big, loud American, super cool. Now, he's one of the investors on board. Salesforce has now acquired Rebel, and basically it allows you to pull through really cool APIs, email rendering, make sure that you're at the top of your game with your email content, and all of this can happen automatically now with the Rebel engine. So it's really just heightening and creating a truly interactive email experience through the use of smart content. Whether that's JSON or API driven, you can now do that all within, or you will be able to do it, safe harbor, once Rebel is built into the Content Builder suite within Email Studio. So that's really cool. Think of all the times where you have to rely on Litmus, Email on Asset, and those sorts of tools to try and understand, well, is my content resonating? Are there deliverability issues with it? Is this actually going to work? Now with Rebel on Salesforce Marketing Cloud, you'll be able to have interactive content that actually makes sense. So interactive emails can write reviews, shop, and you can do a range of other things all within here. So an example would be if I received an email from a retailer, I can essentially purchase that product all within my email app without needing to leave the email engine itself. So I wouldn't have to leave my inbox. I can complete that purchase from within my client. So essentially, Rebel is about helping email marketers have a web experience that translates through to email inbox. I hope that makes sense and I've done it justice. I'm definitely not a slick salesperson. All right. Beauty. That's all from me. Thanks very much for listening to me.
Perfect. And Matt walked off my notes, so I'll have those back. Thank you. Okay, nice. Well, what I want to do is just, oh dear, what's happened there? Okay, fantastic. Oh, sorry? No? Right, so this is working here, right? So what I want to do now is just to spend 10 minutes going over some more technical announcements that we saw at Dreamforce. So the first was a Marketing Cloud release initiative. So at Dreamforce, Salesforce announced several customer-centric initiatives that are going to transform their software delivery process. And Salesforce explained that the release management team is committed to quality in the release process, but they acknowledge with Marketing Cloud there's been some turbulence along the way historically. And they're committed to addressing and improving that through a new quality charter, which is focused on 4 things. So firstly, 1, improved release efficiency. Secondly, shortened release deployment. Thirdly, more defined and predictable release windows. And lastly, more importantly, an elimination of any and all release impacts. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Sales Cloud or Salesforce Core really has a tradition of release operational excellence. And Marketing Cloud is just still evolving and certainly has room for improvement. But the Marketing Cloud release management team are adopting their release best practices from the core product team and incorporating them into their own. And so they're doing a few things here. So they announced a phased release approach commencing actually the next release. I think it's scheduled for 25th of October, where release dates are going to be staggered by stack. And in turn, this creates a more scalable release process than the canary deployments that we're aware of happen today. The next announcement they made is that there's a new trust site coming early next year. And this is going to have several enhanced features, including scheduled maintenance windows that are going to be published by Stack. And lastly, they announced at Dreamforce a customer engagement program, which consists of having conversations with end users and the release management team, and also working together and on going through a number of surveys. Now, if you're interested in joining this program, I'd encourage you to do so. You can sign up at ssdc.co/MC Dreamforce Release. So go and check it out. Now, the next topic, next slide, and one that I'm most excited about is transactional sending APIs. So before we talk about this new announcement, I think it's important to explain what a transactional message actually is. And I'm going to read this definition up here, in that I'm really referring to a person-initiated, single, non-promotional message that confirming the completion of a process with expectations of immediate delivery. And so these, again, as that definition explains, these messages confirm the receipt of a process which is delivered immediately with a very low latency. So use cases include things like, account verification or creation. It could be like a password reset link. So these typically expire, in a short window, like 5 minutes. 2FA or two-factor authentication codes over email or SMS. Maybe it's a weather alert, or for airline, it could be a gate change announcement, and many more. Now, the API landscape today consists of 4 distinct API methods. So we have the email SOAP method, which is SLA-based. We have email REST method, which isn't SLA-based today. And then there's SMS REST method for SMS sending SMS messages, and push REST method. And any of you who've been through the process of creating triggered send definitions, specifically for email, will acknowledge that it's somewhat a cumbersome process, isn't it? And it lives in its own hidden space in Email Studio. And really, there's a very unclear separation between content management and API management in Marketing Cloud. And that's what they're after to address. So next slide, if we have a look at the top asks that Marketing Cloud are hearing from their customers. Number 1, easy integration. So I'm talking about better ways to integrate and integrating more rapidly. Next, higher performance. So by this, customers are asking for things like, what is my send rate and latency? So, and as we know, the performance is really key for transactional messages. Thirdly, another ask is predictability. So this is really around where we need insights about what's happening around our sending. Fourthly, customers asking for rich features. So Salesforce actually currently, and you get forward-looking statements, side, working on a message exploration feature where you can assign a TTL or time to light against your specific email messages. So, for example, if it's a password reset email and that email soft bounces, then if that message is expired, it's not going to reattempt delivery. Next, customers asking for collaboration features. And by that, I mean we've got content owners, developers, and business owners. Really, this is all about facilitating better collaboration across these different and discrete business roles. And lastly, an ask is operational awareness. So customers asking questions like, what happened to that password reset email? Or, what's my overall sending performance? And so Salesforce are addressing these customer asks through several roadmap investment themes. So next slide, please. The first of which is accelerated sending. So this is all about improving, specifically reducing, API response latency. Next theme is developer focus. So this is a couple of things here. So firstly, restructuring APIs, we'll talk about that in a minute, and also the documentation, which we all know needs a lot of attention. And also, developers need to know whether a message was successfully delivered or whether there's an error. And now, through webhooks, that is possible. And we'll talk about webhooks in a second. So the next theme is one experience. And this talks about unifying API methods across channels. And so what they're doing is having common key value pairs. That is, that request payload that I make an email message or push message or an SMS message is identical. The only thing that actually changes is the route on the endpoint. So it's just it's a lot more easy to reuse code and to have some standardization on these methods. The next theme that they announced is a measurement dashboard, and this is really talks around providing operational awareness. So it will indicate what type of performance the channels are delivering. And so there's kind of complete transparency and no more emails stuck in a queue where, you don't know that you've got this backlog of thousands of emails in the queue because there's an error in your AMP script. And lastly, a scalable platform. And this really talks about leveraging the existing Marketing Cloud-rich architecture to enable a scalable platform for transactional message sending. And so if we go to the next slide, so these new API resources consist of 4 new APIs. So we have, firstly, message send definitions, message queues, message sending, and this provides the ability to either send individual messages or batch messages. So you can't do that today with the REST API at least. And fourthly, message tracking. So a picture's worth 1,000 words. And if we jump into the next slide, we can see just that. So in this flow diagram here, this indicates what this journey looks like. So firstly, up in the top left-hand corner, a message is invoked from an external system. So this could be like your e-commerce platform, using the Marketing Cloud API. And then the next step is a send definition. So the send definition has kind of 3 purposes. Firstly, it serializes that data into a data extension, optionally goes and appends the subscriber to a list, and more importantly, defines the message, for example, an email to be sent. The next step is the OMN, which is the outbound mail manager, the engine in Marketing Cloud, goes and interprets the AMP script and renders output, and also any personalization strings in that message, and goes and sends the message. And fourthly, and more importantly, at the end of that process, there's a callback via a webhook to your external system. So you can verify whether the message was successfully delivered or whether there's an error. You know that in real time. So that's awesome. So this is currently in pilot. If you're interested in joining the pilot, I can put you in touch with the product manager because he solicited that information at Dreamforce. You can, again, pay attention close to those forward-looking statements and base your purchasing decisions on products and services that are already available. But, thank you. You can expect great things coming soon. So next slide, user interface. So these are some UI concepts that are currently under development. And if you click next, this is just another one. There we go, set us up here. So we can see that this is significant improvement to the current process of creating triggered sends in Marketing Cloud. We've got more of a widget approach and more graphical and much more better visibility. So the third and final technical announcement I wanted to cover this evening is the Content Block SDK. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Content Block SDK, this SDK, or Software Development Kit, was released earlier this year, in fact, specifically in January 2018, although formally it's at Trailhead DX. It enables custom block widgets to be augmented within Content Builder. So what this means is that as a developer, you can go and build custom interfaces and then surface those through Content Builder. And applications for these content blocks include things like creating personalized maps, or maybe it's charting, like bar graphs or pie charts as images and dynamically displaying them in email. Maybe creating dynamic images, like personalized images of your name in clouds. Maybe it's weather, news feeds, or social media feeds, and much more. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And so this SDK today provides several JavaScript methods that enable bidirectional communication of content and data between your custom block widget and Content Builder. And there are two additional methods we announced at Dreamforce. So the first is finally the support to set the width of a custom block in Content Builder, so it's no longer restricted to, what was it before, I think 500 pixels. It's now variable within the tolerance. And secondly, and more importantly, this is one that I've been pushing the product management team and the lead architect, is for SSO support. So this is where the block server-side login URL can receive a JSON web token, or what's known as JOT. So it can request an access token and use the Marketing Cloud API method. So now with the Content Block SDK out of the box, that we can go and perform data operations, maybe retrieve data from a data extension, or display available data extensions, or retrieve content, or access any of the SOAP or REST API methods available in Marketing Cloud. So that's an exciting advancement. So next slide. Glad.
Cool. Okay. I don't really have that many slides. I actually don't have any slides, and that was intentional. My point of today's kind of presentation is really give you a bit of a summary. And interesting for me was, I actually wasn't at Dreamforce, but I looked into that and watched the recordings, watched the keynote, and I was trying to think about what are the key themes that came across that are applicable to the group like you guys, who are developers, who are practitioners of Marketing Cloud. And my takeaway from overall Dreamforce was really all about integration, intelligence, and innovation. There were three themes that came across all the products that we announced, all the new developments that we're working on. And in particular, when it comes to Marketing Cloud, I think I was trying to play with the word intelligent marketing powered by marketing intelligence. That's what we're really ending up with. So today, if you think about how we construct the solutions, how we integrate and build Marketing Cloud in the cross-cloud solutions for our customers, it's always a big challenge. Technical depth that we create with using custom integration, we're looking into beyond multiple or single cloud sort of environments. It's really hard to pull proper solution that scales, that works, that doesn't give you a headache when you construct it, and then effectively when you maintain and support it going forward. So when we start looking into the themes that have been announced in the products, so the Customer 360, even though it didn't really kind of came across as a significant thing, to me it's a huge improvement going forward. Powered by our MuleSoft integration platform, we're now giving power to really admins being able to connect the data, the customer data that we're all kind of working on day to day, into one unified sort of centerpiece, a product that allows you to see who is your customer across commerce interaction, across sales and service interactions, how their data is spread out across all the different multiple systems. And you, as a person who is configuring and working in Marketing Cloud, now need to understand the impact of your data design decisions and how it's going to be plugged into the rest of the cloud. How it's going to impact from the visibility standpoint of view, from linking all of these different identities. The struggle that we always have, customer key, subscriber key, do I use email address, do I use CRM? What if we have 2 or 3 different CRM systems running in the background? It's a huge problem. So we, luckily enough, we've got a product manager who came up from a bit of a marketing background, who's powering up a lot of the our sort of consumer goods products, and he's leading that industry specifically. So the way I took him to that, his thinking was we need to provide a foundational platform to be able to connect to data successfully without creating big technical debt. Because a lot of the times we are the ones creating that. And the reason for that is actually because platform pushes us to do that stuff. So I think if you think about what should you take away from building up all these different solutions, is think how are you going to integrate and apply the data going forward, pretty much from hopefully Q1 next year, into the other clouds, and how are you going to expose and connect all of these different customer personas across varieties of interactions for your customer brands. Number 2 is the MuleSoft itself. As I mentioned before, it's really an ability to easily integrate data. I don't know if you guys know or if you use MuleSoft itself. I wasn't really a power user of that. But looking into ability to connect, different data streams into CRM, and really without doing and bringing any data, expose it in the customer profile, to me it was a significant win. Like when we think about what it brings to us, because traditionally we've been always acquiring or building products focused around customers. And MuleSoft is one of the products which really has nothing to do with the customer directly, right? All it does is really connect the service, the data points, but it doesn't really natively really link us directly to the customers. But if you look into the product that it actually supports and really underpins all of these different sort of interactions from the customer data perspective, it's a huge win for us. So going forward in the future, it should be significantly easier for you as a developer to figure out how do I bring the Commerce Cloud data into Marketing Cloud and start building that interactive smart profile with the customer and really power the dreams with the data that sits somewhere else without bringing it in. And you don't need to design the data model. You don't need to figure out the connection between all of these different customer keys, which is a big problem today. So that I think is a huge, huge win. And the last bit which was coming through this Datorama acquisition, I found it's really amazing and tremendous. And if you've been on any of my sessions and workshops or just interacted with me, I would be the first one to say, if you look at the reporting in Marketing Cloud, honestly, it sucks, right? We never got it. We never got it right, and I think it was almost a purpose of the product, never give you at the customer level drill down of what are you doing with your consumers and with your customers. So we, unfortunately, as a developers or the people who work on the platform, we do need that data. We need to be able to go up and look up and say, well, what did we send to these guys or these guys? We're twisting that. And we're twisting it to such a degree, and I think this is where I'm really grateful that I work for Salesforce, is because we're acquiring the best products on the market when we choose them. So Datorama gives you ability to understand and analyze our marketing interactions across any channel. So we're connecting social interactions, we're connecting email, we're connecting push, anything, you name it. If you look into connectivity of Datorama, like, because I know I've done a few projects with custom mobile apps where our customers build applications, do in-app, tracking, even Analytics and few others that sit there as a tile. And it's exactly the same click and connect and configure experience. So no custom coding. Again, no technical debt. All you're doing, and I found it interesting, one of the guys from the product team was talking about, you can really do most of the stuff that the product does today if you use a bunch of different spreadsheets and you've got probably half a year of the time, so you can build up a report on the cross-channel campaign. And that's what we do. That's a lot of the times we spend just doing that. So what we're doing is just, why don't we get rid of all of this laborious stuff and actually give you the ability to think about innovations, about some creative things. So that's really my kind of point of view on that. And I think going forward, it makes us all to rethink how we think strategically on solutions that we build. A lot of the times I'm going back to some of the stuff that I did in the past, and when I talk to the consultants, I say, well, you know what, well, you can do that. Today is the question, why would you want to do that? Why do you want to reinvent the wheel, which is already there? Similar to these interaction studio stuff, right, we've done, and what when we were discussing when we were coming here, we've got one of the customers where we were finding a similar product custom developed for them. Like today, we'll just come in, demo that, and tell them this is what you need. It does 98% of what you need, and it gives you all the functionality without doing any customization, which means it's scalable, it's easy to maintain, and we can see that it's going to be updated, upgraded, and enhanced in the future from the product standpoint of view. So I think that's really a takeaway from me. Think of any other things. One extra thing I wanted to say is it's really, really empowering to kind of look into what we see in 2022, I think, in terms of numbers. And looking into the, turnout today here in Melbourne, and we've got guys in Sydney and Brisbane, I think you need to kind of look into the perspective. We are in the high demand, like we are as in Marketing Cloud especially, in a very high demand on the market. And looking into the growth that we see, I think you almost can call yourself a luxury because we don't have enough people who understand and work with our technology. So one of the biggest sort of thoughts that I kind of was going through and thinking what we can do to better and enhance our interactions with a group like yourselves guys to help you educate you on the product, to help you grow and understand them and really become experts with our products. I would love to seek any feedback if you've got any ideas, how we can help these groups, because I personally am not necessarily always able to come and contribute, but I'm very certain that a lot of guys and girls in our teams, across different locations would be happy to contribute and make it better. So please don't be shy, share your feedback with us and tell us how we can make it better. And with that,
Okay, echo those comments. On the 22nd of November, we've got our next planning meeting for 2019. Please come along to that meeting. We'll do it online and in person. I know Brisbane's going to be joining us. And look, we don't have to have an event every month. We can have an event every 2 weeks. Currently, the format is in person 1 month, online next, in person. We could do much more, but we just need content and ideas for meetings. If anyone's got any ideas bringing forward, there's some forms at the back. Please let us know, and it'll go to your group leader in the state. That'll be published. 22nd of November is when we'll do that workshop. The takeaways I got from all that is develop a first streamlining process, and it's absolutely brilliant. Thank you for our presenters for doing that. But we're recording this presentation. I know I'll be looking at the recording and stepping through that a little bit more slowly. It was great to watch what happened there. We do have some food that should have come out in all the locations. We do have Q&A, and we have another presentation which Mick will do shortly. Let's break down for about 5 minutes. Grab yourself something to eat.
Really quickly, before we actually go into the break, can you go to the next slide? So to continue the learning and experience of Marketing Cloud, we actually have a huge marketing event here in Sydney. We're going to have something called Connections to You. So Connections has historically been the marketing event that we hold in the United States, where marketers, people who work on marketing products, people who touch on service and platform, they come together and network, get to learn content, and see all the latest technologies that touch on marketing. And we're bringing that to Sydney. So what's really cool, it's the first time we are bringing Connections to You here in the region. That is happening November 26th. So I urge you all to register today. If you just Google Salesforce Connections to You Sydney 2018, it will sell out. It's a complimentary event. It's a one-day event that happens on Monday, and we have a lot of executives coming from headquarters and also a lot of really great customer speakers here. So save the date for November 26th so you can learn more about Marketing Cloud there.
Thanks, Tana. Quite often after these events, we put all the notes up online after the event, and we'll definitely do that, make sure the links and everything that everyone's talked about is available. Let's break, grab some food, come back really quick, and let's hit the Q&A. We've got a heap to cover with Q&A and also the presentation from Nick. Thanks. No problem. Cool. Okay, so question time, Q&A. What we're going to do now is go to the panel with questions. Each of the questions should be really short and to the point. Questions will be limited to each location, so we'll start in Melbourne, then we'll do Sydney, then we'll do Brisbane. One question per person. And really, the questions should only be answered by the panel. So the audience asks and the panel answers. The microphone, Mick, if you can go into the group with the microphone, find somebody in Melbourne to ask the first question, and then we'll hand it over to Sydney for the second question. So you, Sam, to do that question.
Guys, do you have any questions in relation to what occurred here tonight?
Got one over here.
Hello. We covered a lot of really interesting and new extensions being added. Which ones are being added by default to the current Marketing Cloud environment, and which ones are additional services and products that need to be bought, implemented, and added on? Which ones kind of will be rolled out on their own?
So, to recap, and prompt me if I forget any, we had Interaction Studio, Datorama, Rebel, GA360,
Customer 360.
Customer 360, MuleSoft, and what else? Rebel got that one. Cool. I think that's everything. So within Marketing Cloud, Interaction Studio is a SKU that is available today. It is built into the product. We also have Rebel is coming. It is not available yet. We have...
Yeah, so Interaction Studio is an add-on.
Yep. When I say it's a SKU, it's an add-on to the product. It's net new SKU, net new product. Rebel is not available yet. We are unsure. I am unsure at this point how that is going to be packaged and priced. And GA360 is available today. That is a SKU that is available. And there's a connector to set that up. So that is a new product line. And Datorama, I am unsure at this point in time how that's going to be packaged. I think, because our sales teams are already in a go-to-market, so I believe that you can purchase that alongside your Salesforce Marketing Cloud rep, and they'll bring in the Datorama rep to sell it. So that's an additional product line that's available. And what else do I have?
Customer 360 is included, according to that slide at least. You might have noticed that Appy was holding up a flag saying included.
I can, for Customer 360, so it's something that we announced in terms of capabilities and how it's going to tie together, but it will be of a purchase that's outside of the Marketing Cloud next year.
Oh, okay.
Cool. That answer your question? Did I miss anything?
No, I think MuleSoft.
MuleSoft, thank you. Again, like Tina just mentioned, it'll be a product that sits outside of Marketing Cloud. Remember, we have like Service Cloud, Sales Cloud, Analytics Cloud. There's like a MuleSoft Cloud, and it's yet to be named, or Integration Cloud. Yep. Is that formalized? It is. Okay. We call it Ask Cloud internally, just like a little joke, because it's a Mule. I thought it was. Sorry.
Hey, Sam, did you want to lead off with a question from Sydney?
Any takers? No questions?
And if not, Brisbane can chime in.
Yeah, it's fine. We know Sydney's a little bit slow, so I've got a couple of questions.
Chris, was the G Suite. What does that do?
Hang on, we had someone with a question. I think we're just passing a mic.
Yeah, I had a question.
Okay.
Too late, lost chance.
That's fine, me.
Sydney's still thinking about it? Or?
Sydney, let's go.
So I had a question about the Customer 360. With the GDPR that has come into play in Europe and things like that, I guess there's a whole bunch of work to be done, not necessarily in Australia, but in other places of the world for people that are acting on a global level to, capture customer consent for marketing purposes, store their data across systems and make sure it can be accessed and deleted and all of those things. Is there, within the Customer 360 environment, a view to kind of provide a solution that works end-to-end across all the clouds that can solve this problem for customers, or is this still something that everybody kind of has to go and solve for themselves?
I'll try to tackle this one, and Tina, correct me if there is anything I can't speak about that. If you look at our product lines over the last year or so, we've been releasing a lot of features that support GDPR altogether, and that's not just marketing, it's pretty much every single product line. Customer 360 is not meant to solve the problem of that. It's really an integrated view of the customer profile across the cloud. So if you're not collecting the data, if you're not using it for any specific purposes within the cloud itself, then effectively you're not going to be able to connect customer profile from one cloud to the other cloud. So you can still, for example, look at the customer who interacts through the Commerce Cloud, does transactions, but on Marketing Cloud side, they might say, well, I don't want you to collect my data, delete my profiles. And once you delete them in the Marketing Cloud, you're not going to see the Marketing Cloud extension in the Customer 360 view. So it's really, think of it as like a plug-and-play view around the customer across all of the different clouds that we have. And it's not necessarily GDPR itself. There's an enforcement of the policies.
Okay.
Sorry?
No, I was just
Yeah, go.
no, I was just going to say, Sydney, have you guys got any more questions, or do we want to go on to Brisbane?
I hope we went too slow. I have a really quick question.
Yeah.
It's Olympia. Sorry, Mick. Some of one of the announcements at Dreamforce for the customer success keynote was around simplifying some of how the products are packaged and how the pricing works. And I just wanted to know if there was any kind of news on that from a Marketing Cloud perspective. So they were talking about if there would be some packages of clouds and things like that, kind of how CRM comes with sales and service. I don't know if you can say no.
Hi, Olympia, it's Ev.
Hi.
I actually haven't seen that, but I do know many people from the CSG side of the business, Customer Success Group. So, just to clarify, make sure I've understood it properly, are you saying there was maybe there was a statement at Dreamforce about maybe packaging some of the SKUs together, so like I could have a sales environment, a service environment, and aspects of marketing all bundled up? Is that right?
They kind of talked about looking at pricing in regards to what customers already had. They weren't as specific about packaging. I potentially inferred that. But they were talking about that they're going to publish all the pricing online now and give more clarity around that. So, I was interested to know what that was going to mean.
Yeah, got you. So I haven't seen a lot of that, but Tina, you might know more in terms of what our pricing strategies or any sort of information in the background there. Do you want to? I might hand over to you, Tina.
Yeah, so I don't have the detailed answer to that specifically, so we can take that as an action item. But if you look at our recent announcements with regards to Salesforce 360 and MuleSoft, our executives are really thoughtful about not just doing one-off a la carte solutions. You saw that in our customer success platform slide. It's really all about what are these components that are most valuable to the end user and to the end customer. So in terms of a menu of buying a variety of different clouds, that probably will be released by the end of this year. But you'll start to see elements of these combined solutions together being simplified and offered in that way. But an actual SKU is something that we typically don't externally have on our website, but it's more of, hey, these are these really great solutions, and they'll probably templatize it in. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Well, moving on to Brisbane. Have you guys got any those questions you want to look at, sorry?
Yeah, sorry. We're here. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We do have one question here regarding GA360 and, the G Suite. What services does the integration allow for? Does anyone have any answers from the panel on that?
It's Ev again. Not as yet. I had this question come up yesterday, actually, and because we're going out to market directly with our Google account executives, it's one that I'll take away and we'll bring Google in to have a conversation directly with you. They can give the spiel on that side of the fence. So if I can ask for an action, let's take that as one, and we'll get your information as to where you are, and then we'll connect you with your local Google rep there. Is that okay? So we can do it that way?
Yeah, I mean, one way you can answer it, so I have Sandra in Brisbane. So basically, if you're familiar with Google Sheets, you can link in the data entry in Google Sheets right into the actual data gathered out of whether it's Marketing Cloud or out of Salesforce or out of Services Cloud, one way in or one way back out, both ways. So if you're trying to populate a spreadsheet with marketing interaction information, you can have that visible on G Suite. Same as from the Gmail platform, for sending out direct communications or emails, you can automatically flag those to a customer or an account tag back on the Salesforce side. So there's a lot of automation around the ability to link communications with customers or clients, contacts, so forth, back into a record that you might have on the Salesforce side. And increasing those interactions, the ability to take data tables back with analytics and be able to show those on top of a Google slide. Through dashboarding and graphic reporting. But there's a pile of other things I can't repeat off the top of my head. But,
and so that covers the core side nicely, which is what we think of as the sales and service. So from the marketing side of the suite, we're connecting with Google AdWords, Google Optimize, those two key products. But understanding the intricate details of what the suite and the pricing and the full capabilities, I actually don't know even all that information, so I rely on my Google counterparts at this stage.
Sure.
Yeah.
It almost sounds as though it could be worth doing a deep dive in a workshop and spreading that out as well for a future. Put that up for a future topic to talk about. We've got another question in Melbourne.
I think it's WA has a question as well.
Oh, WA had to go to dinner. Text me, but they were on up until this point, and they're really sad to leave.
Isn't that a really early dinner in WA?
Isn't it?
I believe one of our partners, David Town, has taken us dinner, so you can speak to him there.
Okay, guys, you've got a question back here in Melbourne, so I'll put you on now, if that's okay.
Thank you. I just noticed on one of the slides with the G Suite 360 that it said something that it comes free for a year. Was that something that I misread?
No. So GA360 doesn't come free. Again, I'm not a Google rep, so I apologize that I lack this information right now. But my understanding is that you need to have a GA360 license that you purchase with Google. If you haven't got that, you can then purchase it through your Salesforce rep in future, and that's still coming. But no, there definitely is a license for GA needed. And then in terms of like a Marketing Cloud connector, so connecting your MC environment with GA, I think the connector may... Yeah?
Naomi here. We've got Andrew is ex-Google, can help this conversation if you like.
Thank you. Perfect. Go for it, Andrew. Take it away.
You're absolutely right. GA360 is separate. I think there's a license cost to that. It's G Suite that you get for free for the first year with the procurement of Salesforce licenses. And that's something you have to go through the Google sales rep for that particular customer in order to be able to access that incentivized deal. And has to be co-timed with the start of the Salesforce license.
Thank you for that. I think we're getting to our last question now in Melbourne. Maybe if there's one last question.
We're just going to follow up. So
yeah, no problem.
Actually, on a different topic. So.
Regarding
looking back to my friend,
Alexa's got hand up.
Maybe come up the front now.
Guys, I'll just jump in here. It's Colin in Sydney. Just on the question around the Google piece. For the GA piece, it is a separate license, so you do have to buy GA360, so it won't work with the standard version. And also, the integration or the connector piece is priced at around $15K for the connector. Okay. That's 15, not 150. Yeah. Plus contacts, yes, correct. And in terms of there was a question earlier about the data piece. I think from a marketing specific perspective, it's campaign data that's going from Marketing Cloud back into GA. Okay, so all of your previous campaign sends. and the audiences piece that you create in GA that goes to Marketing Cloud. And it only comes back with 2 fields into a data extension, so we do a match on the Google and unique identifier and email address. That's all we push. Hopefully that answers that question.
Thank you very much.
Last question.
Last question.
So regarding the transactional sense, when is that going to be available, the enhanced functionality, and is that going to be part of Journey Builder, or?
So firstly, that wasn't announced, when it's going to be available. It's currently in pilot. I can go and give you details of the product manager, or you can actually go to, I'm pretty sure you can go to Dreamforce website and see the video and watch it. I did anyway. So is it part of Journey Builder? It's a very interesting question. It's certainly not today. Yes, you may have observed in those UI screenshots, they were part of Journey Builder, and I'm unsure how that works, and that hasn't been announced yet. I don't know if you can add to that, Blaise.
I can only add a perspective because I had a chat with the product manager at the Connections at the time. The idea is to provide separate configuration space because transactional send itself has a different nature to Journey. But at the same time, there are a few more internal slides where there is a concept of what we're thinking it can become a part of the customer journey. If you think about experience, the transaction itself is the first step. And a lot of the times today, you will go through the implementation where you get triggered message as a first step in the customer journey. It's not part of the customer journey per se in Journey Builder, simply because we want to SLA efficiency and quick delivery. In the future, what we want to do is we want to be able to say, still make it a transactional message, and then get the customers to follow through the marketing interaction and marketing journey effectively. So it can become part of the journey and can become part of the standalone configuration. It has nothing to do with anything. I think one point to distinguish between the pilot and the beta, it was another thing that I picked up at least from the Dreamforce. There have been a couple of conversations on that. The pilot itself, we're trialing the concept. So there's a lot of these things that you've seen on the actual interface, on the API itself, that can change by the time the product goes even better, right? Like we actually have few customers that we work closely together to try and build up the product and test the concept. So that's one of the key distinctions between the beta. The beta is pretty much we're ready, almost ready to go live. We want to test it, we'll approve it, and then go live. With pilot, we try to go, okay, this is the concept, we want to bring it to the market. We trial it, and people say, you know what, it doesn't work. It doesn't solve 50% of our use cases. Let's roll it back and regroup and figure out what actually makes sense to deliver. So therefore, think of that this is just a conceptual thing. And the reason why it becomes that, very similar to Journey Builder, I think Elliot Slight has a really good point. One experience. We want users to be able to go any part of the functionality and have the exact same experience configuring things. So you'll see with a new release in October that was coming through, all the Journey Builder activities will completely change the way you configure that. So it's still the same sort of steps configuration aspect, but the way you do it is different. Your access changes. So that really fits into that particular picture. Hopefully that helps.
Okay, thank you for that. What we're going to do in Melbourne is do our group photo. And then we'll cut across the net to do his presentation. Can everyone stand up, please? Girish, can you come up the front and get this photo, please?
I just want to let you know that we've already done our group photo, so you guys are a bit behind.
So pretty.
Is it right, Girish?
You need to go outside. I feel like it's always not that's probably better.
Yeah, thank you.
You want us to go in?
Yeah.
Everyone come on, everyone.
We've got everyone. All right, good evening. Come on. Stand up, Girish.
How's it going up there?
Thank you. One more. Thank you. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Our final presenter tonight is Nick Davies. He's going to do a presentation about consumer lending. We're welcome Nick up for doing his presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. So my name is Mick Davey. I'm a marketing cloud, work here at PwC. I'm a marketing cloud, part of marketing cloud practice, and I'm here to talk to you today about lending excellence and how the Salesforce marketing cloud stack can be used to deliver a really great solution for customers in the space of consumer lending. So why banking? Well, obviously PwC, you think financial services, but we've really branched out our offering into technology services as well. And, what does the space currently look like? There's obviously a lot of room for improvement. Think of companies like Kodak and Blockbuster and Nokia, they didn't adapt to the changing environment around them, and they really suffered to pay the price. It's not unfeasible that banking could, financial services could go down that route as well. They're right for disruptive innovation as well. And, is it a small opportunity? No. $200 billion in revenues last year for financial services. So, we're not going to be able to address all the problems that are associated to that market. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus down in on consumer lending. So, even an incremental shift in fixing, addressing some of the pain points that are experienced in the consumer lending space using Marketing Cloud and Salesforce suite of products, it's going to deliver some massive returns, And there's obviously a problem. The Royal Banking Commission has come out saying there is. So, it's going to be front of mind for these organisations to really ramp up their use of technology and how they service their customers and stay compliant. And also it's a relatable topic. A lot of people here have mortgages or have loans associated with banking and financial institutions. So, hopefully some of the things that I talk about today are going to resonate with you a little bit more. So where are the pain points? We could look at the consumer space. No one goes bounding down to the bank to go through the loan process. It's oftentimes it can be quite fragmented. It's not really transparent. A lot of people don't really know where they are during that process. And then look at this. I often like to think of the staff that work in these organisations. They've got to work with the systems that are currently in place. And there's only so many people that a staff or bank representative can service. It's not a scalable sort of situation that they find themselves in, constantly chasing people up for reminders, for communications or documentation that hasn't been received yet. And then we look at the institutions themselves. They're dealing with, oftentimes legacy systems that they've had for years and, delivering, solutions that are going to solve the pain points that are experienced across the board really require a massive investment. So that's why we've come up with the Lending Excellence Framework. And that's using the different suite of the Salesforce stack to deliver, what we consider to be an optimal lending experience. And it's about really putting the customer at the center of everything that you do, digitizing as many pieces of the puzzle as you can, and solving, the industry problems. So what we've done is we've identified a great user journey for a customer that's an unknown lead and taking them all the way through to when they become a known customer, they're servicing their lending product with us, and how you can sort of ensure the success of that relationship. I'm going to enlist the help of two handsome people here. We've got Cara and Dale. They currently have a mortgage with another provider, but they're open to change. They currently want to do some renovations, so they need to expand their mortgage even further. But in doing that, they're reevaluating their financial position. So what we're going to do now is we're going to introduce them to the Pilly Bank, and the Pilly Bank is the financial institution we've come up with to take them through this lending excellence process. So this is how we've defined the ideal touch points just using the Marketing Cloud functionality to take them through the process of unknown lead through to acquiring themselves to getting the mortgage with the banking institution, welcome, and all the way through to enhance when they're a successful customer with us and we're being intuitive to their needs as they go through the process. It's up on the wall if you want to take a photo or anything like that. And the next piece we have is taking them through the target stage. So in the target stage, we don't know who they are yet, but we want to drive them onto the Facebook. We want to activate the data that we already have in the system, and then we want to drive targeted communications to an ideal lookalike audience that drives them onto the website and then delivers automated communications that's intuitive and takes them through the process. So we're using Sales Cloud and Marketing Cloud to deliver these, and some of the pain points we're addressing are the high cost to acquire new customers. That's why we're using the lookalike audience, so it's a more targeted approach. And customers exist in different systems, whereas now we're building that one profile and we're building that out as they go through the stack from sales to service and onwards. And then also, the channel mix oftentimes is the problem that you deal with. So the desired target audience is someone who's earning about 120K, is a female because we find there's a higher conversion rate. The location is in the Melbourne geographic region because the Pilly Bankers office is there and they can service those needs. And coincidentally, what happens is Cara falls into that criteria, and she sees an ad for the Pilly Bank pop up on her Facebook page, and then this is tailoring to her needs, and then she decides, well, look, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna find out a bit more about what they have to offer. So if I click into this, and I'm just going to jump out to my computer, so just bear. Oh, what? Now it's flying up on me. Okay, so if you just bear with me, I'm just going to type in Cara's details into here to drive her into a journey. Just entertain yourselves. I'm sure there are typos, but you just have to forgive me. And October 26th. Okay. Okay. So now what we've done is we've launched. I really don't want to cut that off. Okay, there we go. Just ignore the error message at the top of that. But basically what's happened is we've launched her into an automated journey where a lead has been created and then it's just received an automatic response saying thank you for your message. And then 2 days prior to the meeting with the banker, she'll actually be getting a notification, which is a reminder for the meeting itself. So, this is sort of basic stuff that we've all sort of experienced before. But I just wanted to take you through, how we're going to be building that out. And then, come back up here. All right. So now you can see, the lookalike audience was the ad that was created down here, then through the landing page, which was a cloud page, and then the subsequent emails she got to drive her through that engagement. Oh, sorry guys. Technical difficulties. Don't click that out. There we go. All right. Now we're at the acquire stage, and in the acquire stage, this is when nCino really comes to the party. And what we've done is we've actually localized a version of nCino for the Australian lending market because it is an American product, and coming up along with that, we've got hit codes and all of these other sorts of things. So we've actually localized that instance. And what's happening there is the banker is sitting down with the customer, going through what are your assets, what are your liabilities, what are your expenses, all of those sorts of things. Oftentimes what they'll do is they have to data enter those. And then they'll have to call out to different places to get a credit check or to verify these documents or anything like that. But what we've done is we're going to be integrating those with different systems to do automatic credit check coming through, automatic verification of documents coming through. So all of these is leading to a really seamless experience. So in that meeting, the customer can then get conditional approval when they're in the meeting with the representatives themselves. So this addresses the problem of lack of automation, separate systems not talking to each other, really having that one repository where the customer data sits and engaging that in marketing as well as for use by other areas of the business. And think about when you get a loan. When you get another loan with the same provider, you often need to go through the same process again. So this is storing that data in one repository so it can be called on for future use. And at the end of that process, they then get an email that, identifies the things that are outstanding that needs to do to get that final approval. And then we come through to the welcome stage. Almost there. I'll try not to keep it too long. What's happening here is we want to take them from conditional approval to full approval. Now, what we've done is we're using Marketing Cloud and the fields within Marketing Cloud to trigger reminder communications. You haven't provided your documentation yet. These are the two things that are outstanding. You're still ignoring the communications we're doing and not taking the steps timely enough. What we're going to do is change the message, send you a text message instead. A lot of these things we know and we do quite often, but it's just those little things over the course of an entire customer engagement can really drive smart. And this is actually built using the Community Cloud. So whenever a customer wants to upload their documents or anything like that, they actually log into Community Cloud to self-service, to upload their documents, also to see where they are in the lending process. So that gives that ability to self-service, and it's very transparent. And then at the end of that, they get full approval, notifications of any changes on their record, and that takes them to the onboarding stage. Now, with the onboarding stage, basically, they've got approval, but they don't have the money. So we want to take them through the point where they have the money in their account, and to do that, what we want them to do is we want them to deposit money into we want them to deposit their salary into their account. We want them to set up their direct debit. We want them to become digitally active. But all of these things don't necessarily require someone to actually hold a customer's hand to drive them through it. It should be an intuitive process that drives people through these actions, depending if they've completed them or not. So that's the other piece that we'll be addressing in this stage. Okay, and the final stage. So this is enhanced. Now, I don't know about you, but when I got my mortgage, I got the money, and then I never heard from the bank again. So the relation, unless something's wrong, then they'll get in touch with you. Don't worry about that. But one of the problems is the value of that relationship isn't realised, and it's the biggest financial commitment an individual can make. So, you kind of feel a little bit lost, and like, oh, okay, well, I'm sure they'll get in touch with you if something's wrong. But what we want to do here is we want to ensure the success of that customer. We want to ensure they're happy, because people can change, and people are happy to change, but it costs more money to get a new one than to keep an old one. So why can't we put automated features within here to really drive that relationship, drive that engagement? So first off, there's a reminder that their first payment's coming up. Here's some steps to set up your direct debit, so this automatically comes out. You don't need to remember to pay. Or here's an SMS offer to book a financial planning session. We want to ensure that you're successful, but how can we do that? We'll offer a financial planning session, take you through that process, and then there's an opportunity to cross-sell and upsell, on different products that you might not be aware of. Then on Dale's birthday, he gets $5 credited to his account, so have a coffee on us. So a bit of gamification of that process. And then there's, the funds are getting low prior to their account, prior to their mortgage coming out. So this can be flagged with them before it becomes an actual problem. And then the final stage would be, well, this is just an example of what an optimal customer journey would look like, is every quarter they get an email directing them to their portal to say, here's the trajectory of your mortgage. Based on your payment cycle at the moment, your mortgage will be finished 3 years sooner, so that's great. Here's an estimate of your property value based on an integration with systems like realestate.com and those sorts of things, how you can do an assessment. And that's sort of, how you can really ramp up the relationship and make people sticky and automate it and solve problems for the customers themselves, make it an intuitive process. Also the staff who are sort of dealing with the one system, and the organisations, again, that are dealing with one system that's not necessarily simple to change, but easier to change than these big behemoth systems that they currently have in place. So I'm quite excited by, how this could sort of change the consumer lending space and some of the benefits that it can bring in terms of being digitally focused on the customer, and then solving some of those big problems that exist. So thank you very much for your time, and I'd like to ask you if you've got any questions. I'm happy to answer any, or let you all get out of here.
If you've got any questions,
question, I'm happy to take you through it. We've got a really good relationship with Encino, so if you want to sort of look at, possibly looking at demos of that product or anything like that, that can be something that we can help you arrange. But please feel free to get in touch if you want to know anything further.
I guess my takeaway from that, it just felt like it was a bucket full of customer experiences that are prepackaged together. Just that felt.
Yeah, I mean, the dream is for it to be sort of like an accelerator type environment. But the other thing to remember with that is it's only part of the solution. It's not, that's just the Marketing Cloud component. And I was only using, basically meat and potatoes sort of Marketing Cloud in terms of the functionality. But, it's a really customer engagement based on the data that sits in system. And then if we want to overlay the Salesforce and the Encino piece on top of that, it's a really robust sort of platform that can be developed.
Does Encino address any other markets, or is it just banking, or is there other finance?
It's just banking, but I can chat with you guys further if you want to know further about it.
Thanks, Mike. Guys, that wraps up our presentation for tonight, and that's the close of our meeting. Thank you, everyone, for participating. For all our awesome presenters, for all our awesome helpers, thank you very much. And for our awesome audiences everywhere, thank you for joining.